Oh, hey. Thanks for joining me to learn about the law of cosines. Fun stuff. All right, so to continue on in your notes packet here, if you want to just pause the video and copy down what I have written, feel free. And you can tune back in and I'll explain it. So these formulas here, this is the law of cosines. And again, we have lowercase a, b, c, a, and b, and that's referring to the sides of this triangle. And then uppercase is referring to the angles, of course. The formulas may look confusing and terrifying, but they're all written based on like whatever you're solving for, okay? And this will make sense as we do an example. But if I'm solving for little a, I'm going to set up my formula like this, okay? If I'd be solving for big B, then I would be using this second one, okay? So whatever side or angle you're going to be solving for, that one needs to go on the end, okay? Be one of the bookends, all right? So keep that in mind. So if a problem is referring to three sides and then one angle, we're going to use law of cosines, okay? So let's flippy flip here to this next page, the last page. Okay, and let's see if I can... Oh boy, okay. That didn't work. And here we are again. So sorry about that. Let's do example 1 together. So we have B equals 12. Okay, here we go. Side C equals 20 and measure of angle A equals 45 degrees. Okay, so we're working with three sides and one angle, so we're using law of cosines. I want to solve for little a, so this side and this angle, like these are going to be the bookends of my formula. All right, so I've got a squared. I'm going to write out the formula first and then we'll fill in our values. Okay, equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of a. All right, so a is what we're solving for, so that's going to stay an a. B squared, that's 12, plus 20 squared, minus 2 times 12 times 20 times the cosine of 40 degrees. Okay, now when we're solving for the side, you can just put this right in your calculator. Okay, so just put that right in. Just make sure you're plugging in the right numbers. And you should get a squared equals 176.3. Okay, now I'm sorry about this typo. Up here it says 45. Here it says 40. Just go ahead and plug in 40. That will match my answer. Okay, now just, this isn't your final answer. You do have to square root both sides. And you end up with a equals 13.3, or the nearest integer would be 13. Okay, so that's not bad if you're solving for a side. We have to do a little bit more algebra in the next problem when we're solving for an angle. Okay, so it says find the largest angle to the nearest tenth of a degree of a triangle whose sides are 9, 12, and 18. All right, now you just have to do a little bit of thinking here. The largest angle of this triangle is going to be angle B because it's across from the biggest side. So biggest angle always across from the biggest side. So I'm solving for B, angle B. So that means this 18, they have to be my bookends, right? So set it up. So I'll just write out the formula first. B squared equals A squared plus C squared minus 2AC times the cosine of B. Okay, now this is what I'm solving for, so I'm going to fill in everything else. So I have 18 squared equals 12 squared plus 9 squared minus 2 times 12 times 9 times the cosine of B. Okay? All right, so let's do our algebra. I'm going to just fill in our numbers. 18 squared is 324. 12 squared plus 9 squared is 225. 2 times 12 times 9 is 216, and then the cosine of B. Okay? Now, if this were just an equation, and instead of cosine of B, you just had an x, you would probably be able to solve for x with no problems. But kids see like the cosine of B, and it just kind of makes them uncomfortable because it's a word. But it's just a variable that we're solving for. So let's do our algebra. I want to move my 225 over. I'm trying to get this guy alone. All right? So if you subtract 225 from both sides, you're going to be left with a 99 equals a negative 216 cosine of b. Okay, now I want the cosine of b by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 216. And I get this weird ugly decimal of negative 0.46 equals cosine of b. Okay? Now, it's fine. It can be negative, can be a decimal. Just remember, you're not finished. When you're solving for an angle, you have to do the inverse. So if you do second cosine, but a negative 0.46, you should get an angle measurement of 117.3 degrees. And that's your final answer. Okay? So there it is, the law of cosines. I know the formula looks scary, but the more that you practice it, the easier it will get. Thanks for watching.